What's going on, guys? Sorry for not making a video recently. I had a problem with my SD card and my camera. I had to upgrade all that. I've been meaning to get all this done for a little bit. But anyway, this video is going to be my take on what is the best AR-15. And this is my take. There still is, I do a lot of studying, but I think there's no one who knows it all about firearms. People that know more than me, but if you hear some, it's my dogs, by the way. But I do a lot of studying. I dive deep into it, and I feel pretty confident to give at least most intermediate gun people a pretty good selection. So, okay, so I'm gonna, my pick will be my personal choices. There, I'll have kind of like a top five. It'll start off kind of budget, maybe different tiers. You'll see how it goes along. So for starters, you're gonna have a budget and a kind of ultra budget situation. So for ultra budget, I'm gonna say Palmetto State Armory. If you build these rifles yourself, and this really only comes in if you build or buy from other people, which right now everything's hard to get, but we're just gonna pretend we live in a pre-pandemic world, of 2019 world. You can build you a decent AR-15 for around $400 or $500, $450 to $500. If you catch everything kind of on deals, your lowers, maybe an Anderson or even a PSA deal. The guy up the street even sells them now for $65 a piece, which ain't a bad setup. But anyway, PSA is a really unique company. They do a lot of stuff in-house. They have deals that no one else can get through. They're very good at their marketing. I've had experience with probably 20, me personally building around 20 PSAs. They're not perfect rifles. They do run pretty good for the money. Now, I've only had one failure, and I'm not really sure what that failure was. I'm attributing it to ammo. I had a case. Is it a 300 blackout, and it was extremely hard. I had a mixed magazine of ammo, half Gorilla. Well, this is the only time I've shot Gorilla ammo. It was on a super good deal for a match, like Sierra Match King or something, some kind of match ammo, at the gun store. So I picked it up. It was only like one box, and I ran it in with Cellar and Balot, which I did most of my 300 blackout shooting with Cellar and Balot. I've heard some reports of it bad, so I've kind of seen some things. The brass cases aren't as good as some other ones, but anyway, I haven't really had much of an issue with it, so the jury's still out on that of me. But I've only had one function issue of all the rounds I've put through it. Now, I have not went out and torture tested these guns thousands and thousands of rounds. People have, and they've gotten good reports on them. Now I generally only run about 200-300 rounds through it, and I don't know, I like to trade, and I get something and trade it off or whatnot. But anyway, I don't have a PSA on here. The only PSAs I have aren't at my current location. Right now I live in the city. Things go bad, I don't want all my eggs in one basket. So anyway, now with PSA guns, the lower parts kits are pretty shit. I've had bad roll pins. A lot of the safety levers won't go to 90 degrees. They kind of slop down a little bit. A lot of stuff's sloppy with them. If you do build one and you got the extra, I recommend getting a CMMG parts kit for it. I've never had a problem with any one of those. Matter of fact, that's what's sitting in the Rona build up there. That's my coat. This is my coat. This is a BCM. That's not a full coat, just a 6933 Commando upper. I've changed around a little bit, and that's an Aero Precision, the Flat Dark Earth upper. But they're pretty good rifles, although there is quality control issues with PSA. If that's all the money you got, I would recommend it. But if you can spare a little bit more, or you can even buy the gun and eventually trade it and sell it and get money and invest a couple $100 more into it. For I like to, all my rifles I want to be shit hits the fan rifles, you know, and be able to survive through anything at the utmost reliability. So, you know, you can shoot 5,000 rounds no problem out of a PSA. Probably a lot more. There's been a lot of reports for full auto fire, but you know, most people don't even have 5,000 rounds. They'll probably never shoot 5,000 rounds out of a gun. So if you know yourself and that's okay, that's not a bad point. Plus, it allow you to put extra money into a better optic or something. So, or ammo and training. You know, if you had no experience, that $200, it can even put you into getting some training. You know, part of the way. So my next one is going to be budget. That was extremely low budget. Now we're going to get into the budget. Now there's a lot of options out there. Most of them, well, not most of them, but a lot of them are good that I don't have a lot of experience with, so I'm not going to talk about those too much. But my two recommendations, and like I said, I've dove into most things, but I don't have experience with some of the others, is a Smith & Wesson M&P and an Arrow. If you buy a Smith & Wesson M&P off the shelf, it's going to be around, depending on the times, I've seen them back in the day, I don't know, time flies, maybe 6 years ago. I think I bought one for like $350 or $400. It was that was when the M&P Sport 2 first came out. It was an extremely, maybe it was $450, but it was an extremely low cost gun. And I mean, to be honest, I had a couple of them at one point. Amazing little guns, never had a problem with them. Most people consider them the best budget gun. I myself, same way. They kind of run up against Ruger, and I've had a lot of bad luck with Ruger lately. My last 6 or 7 or 8 guns, I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go through and count them up. Have had some sort of issue, quality control. I don't really trust them no more, so that's just my thought on that. Now, one thing about my channel is I give you my opinion. If I have bad experience with something, this is another data point. Some of my, you know, like 7 or 8 to me guns in a row. That was 10/22s. That was 22/45s. I mean, you name it. It was GP100 revolvers. It's a pretty wide swath of. That's not even counting accessories. I've had bad magazines, the BX25s and the 15s. You know, that's a pretty vast swath for me to dislike Ruger. Now, AR-15, you know, I think it's a lot easier of a design to make nowadays because everything's so specced out. They do some proprietary things. So, anyway, one thing about my channel is I'm going to say things that's going to make people hit the dislike button, and I don't care. I'm just here to give you my opinion. I'm never going to vouch for something I don't like or I'm not interested in. And I'll give you my opinions on the reliability of it and what I know. But Smith & Wesson, I think, is the best budget. That's what I recommend my friend to go with. He picked a Ruger. I haven't heard no real problems with Ruger. I just don't trust them. But that's definitely a quality looking rifle. The Ruger is. But anyway, and then you got Arrow. You know, Arrow, they are a hell of a good looking made gun. I've shot a few friends of mine. This is my first Arrow I'm building. It's 300 blackout. It's the only thing I could get a hold of is 300 blackout. I was waiting for 300 blackout 9-inch BCM for about 4 months now, and it hasn't showed up. Maybe I'm just missing it, but I work you know, second shift late, so I tend to wake up late. Maybe they're all up in the mornings. But anyway, that Arrow right there, it looks, the quality of the machine work looks about as good as anything. And I put it above it. It's got ballistic advantage barrels, which are better barrels. I don't want to mess up my whole table here, but anyway, yeah. I've seen people beat the shit out of them. I've dove deep into the reliability of them. They run great. To be honest, I think most people with that level of a gun will be perfectly okay for SHTF. I think that gun's pretty damn good. It's not, I don't know if I would call it exactly mil spec. It's mil spec-ish. See, with Aero Precision, they did a lot of OEM manufacturing. I think one of them was Armalite rifles when Armalite was still in good standing. They've kind of switched up their company a bit, but they did a lot of OEM manufacturing for pretty much everything. I wouldn't doubt if some of the new Colts maybe even have it in there. That's just me. That I have no clue if they do or not, but that's the level. Sorry about that. That Aero was into. Then they started doing their own products. I have to remember off the top of my head. There's a couple things that aren't mil spec-ish. Now, another caveat is whether or not you're going to run cheap ammo in it. Like that's a Colt on a PSA lower up top, the little Commando, the shorty. And I've been diving deep into armoring of the AR-15. So I've been the last 4 or 5 months. You know, I've been reading everything I could soak up on it, armor's manuals and all that stuff, and the specs and how everything's made. And with some of the actual mil spec Colts. Now, I've never shot this. I have no personal experience, but I've heard of them choking up. And what it is like if you buy a PSA, they are overgassed to run shitty ammo, like Wolf and Tula. Most things will run it, but they're not pressured like standard military semi-spec ammo is. And, you know, your standard M193 and whatnot, it's higher pressured. So you could have crappier reliability. I don't know what Aero's port size is. I would assume with what Aero's marketed, I'm just assuming this, and you put in the comments if you know. I would just assume that would probably be a pretty good setup for running it. I don't plan on running Tula. It is harder on the extractors, and I just don't want to burn out parts on my guns. Now, if you have a PSA extra and you want to do some training, it's another thing, you know. So right now, I would say PSA for ultra budget, Smith & Wesson second choice, third choice Aero Precision. A lot of the knowledge that I know about Aero Precision is escaping my mind right now. I did all that research. I've been studying so much. I don't have the actual specs on everything to go through about if it's carpenter steel or whatnot. So now my next choice is going to be that's 3, so 1 and 2. Now these two in my mind can kind of be flip-flopped around on however you want it. I'm going to pick number 2 as a BCM. Skipped one, sorry, my bad. I'm not gonna redo this video over. Let's go back. So my next choice is going to be Colt. That's what does it say? Smith and let's see. Anyway, maybe I'm doing a top 6 here, but so Colt is my next choice. And the thing about Colt is they're mil spec. There's rifles that are better nowadays. They've kind of stuck to their guns on certain things, and that's kind of where they're at. Now, this is a 6933 upper on a Palmetto State lower with a CMG parts kit and a couple other accessories. But you might hear my dog snoring in the background over here. It's a big mastiff. She snores like a human. So this came with a 2-piece grip on it, so it's not free floated. It's got a Midwest Industries handguard on it. I may free float it in the future, but free floating is going to give you some accuracy. They're going to give you accuracy. You can buy monolithic. They have like the 6940s and up series. You can buy those, or you can buy free floated versions. But you're gonna pay more money for it, and then that gets into the whole ideal of Colt. Now, right now, you can get a Colt upper no belt carrier group for like $450 at Brownells or something like that. I seen a promotion at one point; it might switch up a little bit, or $500. Get you a $200 bolt carrier group, and you're gonna have one hell of an upper that's gonna last you through anything. It is. There's few things that's in this world that's been more torture tested than Colt. And most people think you can just slap together an AR-15. It is a lot more complicated than that. Your buffer, you know, your buffer is a big deal. You need to have that right one, a standard buffer or an H2 if you have a heavy barrel. And I'm not an expert on this, so I'm still learning. So do your own research on this. Um, there's a whole lot into it. Your length of your gas system to you shouldn't be toying around with this too much. You need to go with a recipe that works. Small Arm Solutions, one of the best channels I've ever seen in my life. Chris Bartacci, he's taught me a whole lot. He goes into all that, but with a Colt for 1,000, I see one on a deal not too long ago. Colt's not the same rifle they used to be. They're not every single thing's in house anymore, so they're not quite. It's hard to say they're not quite as good, but they're not. And the fact that they're ordering parts and they're still testing everything and they're all mil spec parts, but it's still one hell of a rifle. I think $1,200. I've seen them like online for. You're gonna get one hell of a rifle. And Colt's gonna hold its value. Nothing's gonna hold it. Nothing's gonna go up in value like a Colt. Recently, they stopped selling to the public, and they was going on Gunbroker for ungodly prices, 2-3 times as much. So you'll hold your value with a Colt, and it's gonna run. It's gonna run as good as anything. But really, it's the cost. So the next one is gonna be. That's kind of what also pushes this into the area is BCM. So BCM is, in my opinion, better than a Colt at a better price point. I can't remember what I paid for this, but it's around $1,200, and you get a whole lot more for it. You get a free floated barrel, and that free floated barrel is a big deal. It's a very big deal. You're gonna gain a half an inch of accuracy, theoretically, with a free floated barrel, and that starts to mean a lot at distances. So just the free floated barrel alone, and the bolt carrier groups themselves are about, I can't remember how much I paid for, $20-$40 cheaper than what I paid for mine. I was piecing stuff together. BCM, better quality. Everything is still made and inspected to its highest of standards. These guns have went thousands and thousands of rounds without single issues. They're known to, nothing in the industry is more reliable. You can kind of say there's a few, well, that's the number one that's a theoretic that I don't know for sure. There may be some things in the future that are better, but they're not standard AR-15. They're enhanced stuff, you know. So, but from what I know for sure, there's nothing as reliable as this. This is BCM. They work. You can just watch nothing but videos. Mac channel. He's got like 5,000 round torture test of it. AK Operators Union. You can look up the Filthy 14. I think that's what's called the Filthy 14 rifle from BCM. Let me take a break to the drink real quick. They also make some of the best parts. This is one of my favorite grips. I think it's the Mod. I can't remember which one that is, so I'm not gonna quote it. The Gunfighter series. They make good stuff all around. So you might see my dog walking in the background. How are you doing, Gracie? Gracie, shh, get away from that. She knows what a gun is. She's like, this thing goes bang and scares me. But anyway, so my number one choice, and like I said, number one and number two can kind of flip around because of reliability, is I'm picking this because I see it as the future of the AR-15. The LMT series, they have a modular barrel. There's different ones. There's ones with it or not. I think it's, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm looking at getting one myself, thinking hard about it, how much I want to, if I want to cough up that loot for it. They're expensive. They're double the cost of what a BCM is. But what you get out of that is they have a bolt carrier group, which everybody's saying is the most, the bolt itself is an enhanced one. It's supposedly the most robust and reliable. It's heavier metal. You know, I haven't seen that torture tested as heavy as I would like to yet. It is military proven. Britain and New Zealand and some other countries I can't remember are using the rifles, and they work. They were good. There was a problem with something from New Zealand, but that was a batch test. It was a bad batch they got, and they fixed that issue. But the barrels, the thing that makes that gun so amazing is the barrel. The barrel is modular. That means there's two Torx bits or Torx head screwdriver or bits or whatever bits in there that you take out and you can swap the barrels out. You could change it to, and this works on both AR-10 style rifles or AR-15 rifles. So you can take that one rifle. If you just had one rifle to pick, that's definitely kind of the way you want to lean. You take that one rifle, put a 6.5 Grendel, 6mm ARC, 224 Valkyrie, 5.56, and you could have this one rifle with all these different barrels. And they say that it's a perfect return to zero when you turn it back in. Now, that's pretty cool, and they do a lot of other things. It's completely ambidextrous. They make to some of the highest standards there is, and LMT is definitely the future of rifles. Now, that's my top 5. Now, there's some honorable mentions. Some of these I don't know a whole lot about. I haven't felt the need to really dive into them too much because there was other guns that filled my needs or filled my needs. And so there is one rifle, and this one's gonna really set some of the fanboys off. Is I won't put it in my top mainly because of price. I just don't think you get. One of the reasons why the BCM, sorry, it's been a long, just got off work. I'm trying to get some of these videos out for you. But one reason why the BCM gets such high scores is for the price. Any other gun in this category, like Daniel Defense, you're gonna pay a whole lot more for it, and you're not getting much, if any, more. So this is kind of the pinnacle of where you start to get diminishing returns. After this, when you pay more money, you're not really getting much accuracy better, which you're not going to get better reliability. So at what point do you need all that extra? So Knight's Armament Company, those guns are outrageously high. It's not going to be any more reliable. Some of their rifles have even had problems. Not maybe the AR-15s, but like the 308s. And I'm just not a big fan of Knight's Armament. Their stuff works. It's high dollar. We're just going to stay on their AR-15 versus their 308, because that's 308 is a whole different ball game for an upcoming video. It's a hell of a reliable AR-15. If you just want it for the coolness factor and you've got money just to throw on it, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great rifle, and it's going to be just as reliable, if maybe even more reliable. You know, I haven't seen anything out there to say it's more. It's got some proprietary features, which I'm not. It could be a plus or a minus also, just like the LMT. The LMT and Knight's Defense are kind of on the same ball game, except for I think I like LMT's price point a little better. But anyway, and plus you get uppers and everything for LMT pretty easy too. So there's also other companies that are worth mentioning. So like I said, Daniel Defense, I don't think that it's any better, maybe even slightly less reliable in my experience of. It's a hell of a reliable rifle. Maybe I'll own one day if I see one for the right price or has some kind of feature that I think its reliability is better than other companies. I've been going deep into the whole AR-10 308 style rifle, and that's kind of where I've been kind of looking at for that. So I'm not against Daniel Defense. I just don't think for the extra money I'm getting anything. Not much. Like I said, I've never really heard of any problems with BCM other than maybe one person having a problem. There has been batch issues through Daniel Defense that kind of makes me step back a little bit, but it's still one of the best. If BCM wasn't in here, it would probably be Daniel Defense in this category. It's pretty close. I'm not shitting on them, just kind of the way I lean on that. I would own a Daniel Defense over a Colt if I had the choice. But anyway, So there's a lot of other good companies out there that I don't know much about, like Noveski, LaRue, Barrett. Barrett makes a great AR-15. Can't say it's more reliable, and this probably costs more. But some of those guns cost more. Now, like I said, I don't think you. I would almost say it was pretty hard originally when I about a week or so ago before I've been diving into this LMT uh, information or studies. I would have put BCM as number one just because of what you get for the price point. That's what I'm saying. But I just see that LMT's got so much going for it as far as modularity. That's pretty cool. I would like to have 6.5 Grendel. You can switch. You can switch the sizes out. If you know it's SHTF and you need a rifle that's gonna hit the mountains, you can go with a 20-inch barrel or 18-inch barrel. If you need some close quarters, you can set your rifle up for CQB. If you're moving into a city, that's got other caveats to it for the whole prepping situation, but it's pretty cool, and that's why it gives it the edge. But anyway, guys, comment down below. These are my personal experiences, and I still have things to learn. There's still, maybe in a couple years, I think another company's the best or whatnot after I get more hands-on. But I've been thinking about this for some time, and I feel pretty confident in my choices. That I'm not giving you wrong answers here. So, all right, guys, like and subscribe, comment down below. Bunch more stuff to come.